Hi, my name is Steve Wathen. I'm the founder and CEO of Equity and ECS. Our company is a full-service commercial real estate company headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, with offices in 7 cities across the U.S. and activity across all the states of the U.S. Like so many of you, we've been dealing with COVID-19 the last few months and into the next several months. And I've been asked a lot of questions on a fairly regular basis, and I thought I would attempt to answer those today and share them with you. The first thing that impacted us was tenancy. With the shutdown of businesses, which was one of the first major reactions of local governments, shutting down restaurants and public events and all that sort of thing, all those occur in commercial real estate. They're tenants, they pay rent and so forth, and of course their businesses were immediately shut down, so that compromised their ability to pay rent. With that, it was almost simultaneous. There was somewhat of a panic among the commercial banks, so that affected the capitalization of commercial real estate. The understanding that with tenants potentially not paying rent, landlords, building owners would potentially not be able to make their debt service and payments to the bank. So there was kind of a dual thing going on in terms of our reaction. Of course, it was dealing with those tenants, seeing who could pay, who would pay, who wouldn't, and of course then subsequently dealing with our lenders to make sure that we had adequate arrangements with them to survive whatever lack of income might occur at the property level. So on the other side, outside of the real estate portfolios, commercial real estate companies been impacted on operations, particularly in things like brokerage, development, things where large commitments of capital have to be made in order for those things to occur. Businesses across all industries stopped or slowed decision-making processes as they dealt with their own issues related to COVID. So we saw leasing activity go to near zero for several weeks. We saw new transaction activity, again, even transactions in process get slowed. As I mentioned earlier, the banks were concerned and remain concerned about the outcome from COVID. So transactions and development projects that were even in the midstream process of being funded or even had full commitments got slowed in terms of movement toward closing and so forth. So again, it's impacted the industry pretty much at every level. Among the industries impacted by COVID, at least as relates to our purview, which is commercial real estate, I'd say retail clearly is the worst, the most heavily impacted. The closures were so dramatic. The sole source of income for retailers, usually at least bricks and mortar retailers, are people walking into their stores and buying things. Restaurants, of course, if you can't walk in and purchase food, very, very difficult economic proposition for them as well. So retail clearly the most impacted. Second, I would say, is general office, and that might even bleed a little into healthcare. As much as we'd all view COVID as a healthcare crisis that might precipitate more consumption in healthcare, that really wasn't the case. Elective surgeries, things that had to be stopped in order to make room in hospitals and create capacity to deal with a potential COVID explosion, required that those physician activities halt, along with other retail, restaurant, and other activities. So we even had a number of healthcare facilities across the country affected by this. So the real estate industry, like every industry, will evolve somewhat due to COVID. We evolve anyway, regardless, as circumstances change. But COVID has brought things to light and perhaps accelerated certain industries and dampened others in such a way that some of those effects will be immediate. And when I say immediate, perhaps it's more a comment that those sectors are changed now and won't fully recover to the status or circumstance they had prior to COVID. First is retail. I mentioned earlier that retail was a very hard hit, but that's really bricks and mortar. The e-commerce retails flourished during COVID. We've all watched the numbers, the growth numbers in the first quarter of 2020 with Amazon and other e-retailers just skyrocket. And that's going to have a long-term effect. That's what's happening is we're changing habits, consumer habits. Things that they might have gone to the store to buy before, they've become accustomed to ordering online. So there'll be somewhat of a dampening effect there. But again, that's just a trend. That trend has been going on for many, many, many years. COVID just was an accelerator of that. Some other areas would be industrial, and industrial will continue to flourish. It was flourishing before COVID, but again, an accelerator with e-commerce. E-commerce drives a tremendous amount of industrial absorption and demand, and I think we'll see that those numbers will remain very, very strong. Another effect is office, general office. We all had to work from home for some period of time, in some industries longer than others. People became accustomed to working from home. We've actually seen across many, many industries that utilize general office that the productivity is actually improved with employees working at home. And whether or not that remains the case is yet to be seen if employees working long-term from home can maintain those productivity figures. Within 2 weeks of the real onset of the most problematic measures in the pandemic, that being office closures, restaurant closures, and so forth, within 2 weeks, we actually moved to an aggressive, we called it our offensive posture, that we were not just getting back to what we did before, which was aggressive marketing, promotion of our business, pursuit of new business, execution of our current business, but we decided to take a much more aggressive posture than in the past because we were sailing into such difficult headwinds. And interestingly, of course, there was a lot of rejection on the phone. I made lots and lots of phone calls trying to engage customers and others in conversations about the future. And those first few weeks, people thought we were crazy. You know, why are you calling us? We're dealing with a crisis. We're dealing with a pandemic. But it's interesting, the following month when we called them, they remembered that first call. And we moved forward. We started to have discussions. We helped a lot of our clients start to think about the future. The future is full of hope. The future is a very positive place. And it helps remove us from the current malaise we've been dealing with. So we're emerging very steadily. I wouldn't say quickly, but certainly with or at perhaps beyond the pace of the market recovery. And we expect that to continue. So in closing, I hope all of you are dealing with your COVID-19 issues as we are, trying to take a positive mental attitude, emerge from this together. And if there's anything that we can help you with as regards to commercial real estate, we're happy to be there, come alongside and help you through that. Thanks again for your attention.